what I realized somewhere along the way, that the only place I have 100% influence is how I'm showing up as a leader.
You also talk about um, mastering the inner and the outer game. Now, is that a Vistage thing? Is that a Peter Schwartz
No,
thing?
no, actually, that's I think that term was coined by a guy by the name of Galway. And I forget his first name. He wrote these inner game books. This is 20 or 30 years ago.
Hmm.
In fact, his first inner game book was the inner game of tennis, and then he wrote the inner game of golf. And he was high. This guy was profiled on 60 Minutes, and he talked about that the reason why some golfers are great and some golfers aren't so great is the head trash
Mm-hmm.
that seems to, talented world-class golfers, but the head trash gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote a series of books about this, and then his final book was the inner game of work, and that's where I got the term the outer game and the inner game. And I've been fascinated with the inner game for 25 years, and what it takes to grow the complexity of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'll use the term for, is complexity of mind. And the reason why that's an important skill or an important task to undertake is the world is becoming more complex.
Mm.
You need to be able to keep up with that in the way that you deal with that complexity, and how you do that is mental complexity. Some outer game skills and knowledge, but run by an interior
Mm.
that's equipped to handle the complexity of the situation, if that makes sense. Well, and so, the inner game, we craft a way that we want to be experienced by others in adolescence and young adulthood. And we want to perfect that and become expert in that. And there's three major lanes that will fall into. And one is I want to be seen as likable and approachable. Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But we really craft it and perfect it. And because we think in order to be safe, secure, and worthwhile in this world, we need to be likable. Nothing wrong with that success strategy. The other one is, in order to be successful and safe in this world, I need to be seen as competent. And we develop expertise about showing ourselves to the world as competent. And the third one would be about achieving. In order to be safe, secure, and worthwhile in this world, I need to be seen as achieving in the eyes of others.
Mm-hmm.
That's an expertise. It's not just outer game expertise. It's this
Yeah.
identity that we choose to perfect as young adults. We don't even realize we're doing it, but
Mm-hmm.
we act it out, and it works. It gets us promoted. But at the moment you're promoted, and if you're running a frame that is, you need to be likable, you can imagine how challenging,
Yes.
difficult conversations with direct reports are going to be if that's the frame or the inner game software you're going to deploy into that conversation. So that's what I mean by leadership development and the inner game. It's evolving up this notion of relationship to be more about respect and performance, as opposed to being liked. And that is rigorous stuff.
Yeah. 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 And getting the eyes and the mind open to it, and then
It's
experiencing it.
Yep, and these are journeys, and that's why I call it leadership development or leadership journeys, because from start to finish, these types of mental stage development leaps can take 3 years, start to finish. What I've come to recognize is the chair really has to go first. I have had to be on this journey of personal transformation and
Yes.
have gone through this myself to recognize what it feels like to do this.
Yeah.
It's not easy at times, and
Yeah.
it feels fraught with risk because you're putting your identity at risk. So I have a sensitivity for the CEOs that I work with when I'm challenging them
Yes.
with their own thinking. That is the thing that's actually getting in the way.
Yeah.
So it's holding, in Vistage we call it carefrontation. It's the respect and dignity of the individual with challenge,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
that they see that, oh my God, I'm actually the reason why we're not getting the thing done. And the idea for the chair is to help the group learn how to ask the same types of questions that
Mm-hmm.
I would ask. And when you get a Vistage group that's empowered and equipped and emboldened and willing to ask these kinds of questions, magic can happen. I've seen amazing things happen with members when they're in support, when they're supported in this kind of a way. I'm going to just lump this into the category of I get to be a participatory companion. I just walk side by side with these American heroes of business. That's, to me, the small business owner is the hero of American business. These are the folks
Right.
that, they've been through the recession of 2008. I don't know how many government shutdowns, COVID, inflation, supply chain, and they're still battling. They're still doing the right thing for their employees and their customers. And
Yes.
these stories hardly ever get told in the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
So the privilege of my life, and I
Yes.
mean that for my professional life, is to work with these folks and have these long journeys with them. I've had members with me 17 years.